and welcome to another exciting episode of the Full Spectrum D&D podcast. My name is Trey.
I am Rungren.
We got some cool stuff to talk about tonight. I love that if you're on the YouTube side, you're seeing a chat full of very interesting conversation that you don't understand. That's because we've been live on Twitch for the last 7 minutes or so, and you can come check out the Twitch as well at any point to be able to watch the full show. But if you come and watch on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 CT, you can be a part of the chat and talk with us throughout the show, and we do answer questions from chat and take questions from chat all the time. So that was great. So we were going to talk about the planes, but we kind of mixed up when this book was coming out. And so I know everybody might have been excited for us to talk about the elemental planes.
Yeah.
But we'll get back to them because Mordenkainen's came out.
Right.
We kind of have to talk about Mordenkainen's, right?
And everything's nerfed and stinks.
That is the knee-jerk reaction I've seen quite often. I've dug through this book a good little bit already, and I'm really excited to talk about it because, yes, some things did get nerfed, but I do think some of the new additions make up for it. But the first thing I want to bring up with this book, as usual, I have read this book. Rundgren has not. We do this every time so that somebody has a reaction, a live reaction. You get to see first impressions, and somebody has a little bit more knowledge to talk about it. It's a book, isn't there like 2 or 3 spells and that's it? So there are Mordenkainen spells, yeah. But this new book is collating not all, but a lot of the races from many other books. And in a lot of ways feels like, hey, if you want to be able to have some cool races to run with, you can just buy this book and the PHB and the DMG and you're good to go. And I guess the monster manual.
Yeah.
But,
Well, also, Mordenkainen's in lore, is he Neverwinter?
Yeah.
Is he based in Neverwinter? Okay. I don't remember. That's Forgotten Realms lore.
Mm-hmm.
He's powerful.
I do want to throw out here that I had kind of a negative experience right off the bat with this book.
Okay.
Because I feel like they kind of went, well, everything else is way cooler than people. So, because creating your character is the first section, and it has the line, at first level, you choose whether your character is a member of the human race or of a fantastical race. Like, oh, okay. Well, I mean,
Thanks, guys.
If you play humans, then
Moron!
I guess you suck. Why is it just called the Book of Playable Races? I mean,
That's
that
not
would
how
make more
D&D
sense, but
works.
calling
They
it
do a terrible job of letting everybody know the base world is Forgotten Realms.
It's very true.
And, yeah, I don't know why. Anyway.
They also have the ability score increases here from Tasha's. That's the way that they start off here with, let's talk about the ability score increases, languages, and then creature types. And they give you the full list of all of the creature types that can be in the game. They get into lifespans and how most things in D&D, the most races have about a century as a lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
Some, of course, go a lot longer. Some, of course, go a lot shorter.
Yes.
They get into a little bit of the height and weight, and all that stuff is cool, but it's stuff we already know, right?
Yeah.
So what we want to talk about are the races.
Hold on. So I think I may understand where the you might be coming from. This is basically a monsters manual.
Yeah.
And it's got a section of playable races in it.
Right. It's pretty nice in that you get a bunch of playable races from a bunch of different books. So you don't have to buy all those.
Yeah.
But it is still stuff we already have. It's updates to some of them, for sure.
Yeah.
But, oh, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Sounds like the mono definitely made a difference.
Yeah. Well, I also did a low cut and split it a little bit different. So I tried a couple of different things. So but put it back in mono, probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a shame that it gave us mono.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist that one. All right. So the races that are in here have been updated.
Mm-hmm.
For better or worse. Some people are pretty upset about them. But let's get into what they are and why they've been changed, and then we can discuss about whether we think it's good or bad. I have the new race traits and the old race traits so that we can cover all of them. So 6 feet, that's right. 6 feet apart. I don't need this tab anymore. I can get rid of that. All right, let me find. I was so busy trying to get all these together, I didn't.
So we're starting at the alphabetical order at the top.
Alphabetical order. So Ericocra.
Okay.
Yep. And Ericocra are a bird race.
Right.
Bipedal.
Raptorian in nature mostly.
Yes. Winged.
Yeah.
And they do not have human faces. They have bird faces.
Right.
So that is something that really needs to be specified there.
They also have arms, and then they have the talons. Your feet will be talons.
Yes. Do you want to hear? I guess we should cover the old traits and then the new ones, because the new ones are what we're going to have from now on.
Well,
do you want to talk about the new ones and then go back and compare?
Well, some we know. There were a couple that were real big that I couldn't help but see, like the movement speed.
Yeah.
So we have the old movement speed.
Right. Ericocra's old movement speed was base walking speed of 25 feet and a flight speed of 50 feet.
Right.
You couldn't be wearing medium or heavy armor to fly.
Yeah, and you still can't.
Right.
But your fly speed is now your
walking speed,
your movement speed,
which is brought up to 30.
So an Ericocra monk can get pretty broken pretty quick.
That's right. And I think that it does nerf the flight a little bit, but I think that it does balance out with anything that increases your movement speed at all now increases your flight speed as well.
Mm. And it's the one that has its own language. The Kenku is the one, like a crow or a raven type.
Right.
I can't remember what their species is. Anyway, yeah, the Kenku don't have, they mimic.
Yeah.
But these have their own language.
Yeah. Ericocra are more like eagles. Or hawks, I guess. Mm. So they also Ericocra get a brand new ability. You still have your talons, right? You're still doing 1d6 damage instead of 1d4 from before.
Yeah.
Your damage has gone up on your talons. And it's strength plus your... I'm sorry, 1d6 plus your strength mod. Whereas before it was 1d4 plus your strength mod. Which is pretty good, you know?
Yeah.
However, they have something that's new and kind of cool that they didn't have before. So before they had just, hey, that's it. That's all you get, right?
Yeah.
Now they have a thing called Wind Caller, which is starting at 3rd level. You can cast the Gust of Wind spell with this trait without requiring a material component. Once you cast the spell with this trait, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. You can also cast the spell using any spell slots you have of 2nd level or higher. And you get to choose whether you want to do it intelligence, wisdom, or charisma for your spellcasting ability when you choose Ericocra as a race.
Wait. Just for that spell, right?
Yeah, just for that spell.
Okay. We'll see how raw goes with
right
with that. No. I'm a wizard.
Yeah.
That's cast with charisma.
Right. So, Gust of Wind is a line of strong wind, 60 foot long, 10 foot wide, blast from you in a direction you choose for the spell's duration, which is 1 minute concentration. Each creature that starts its turn in a line must succeed on a strength saving throw or be pushed 15 feet away from you in the direction following the line. Any creature in the line must spend 2 feet of movement for every 1 foot it moves when moving closer to you. And as a bonus action on each of your turns before the spell ends, you can change the direction in which the line blasts.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
That is. They handed out lots of... Well, I don't know. I kind of saw this coming, though, handing out spells as abilities.
Yeah, because we got that in Harengon and Fairy.
Strixhaven.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And we'll be talking about Fairy again in a little bit, because there's been an update there, too.
Mm-hmm.
Next up is the Asamar, and Asamars have gotten a pretty substantial change. Not as much as some of the other races, but it's Janewski. When we get to Janewski is the... but Asamars, of course, are your celestial descendants, I guess is the way to say it. They're the ones that are celestially imbued, as it were.
Hold on. I'm trying to figure out how to answer this question. So if they come to you, they use twice as much movement, but if they're moving away, do they use half?
No, the gust doesn't actually push them away from you movement-wise. It pushes them away and knocks them prone, but when they're moving away, the gust only reaches that 15 feet. It doesn't push them further.
Okay. Asamars are angels. Yeah, they're the sort of, yes.
Yeah, it's like tieflings in that they're
celestial.
Right. As compared to abyssal.
Infernal,
thank you. So yeah, Asamar are pretty cool. In the old days you had some rather nifty traits for Asamar, but the new stuff is pretty cool. Right off the bat, they added a table. You can roll on this table to get different celestial features. There used to be in the book before in Volos, there was like a little rundown of the features and you could choose one, but this is way more new player friendly, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Just, hey, here's a table, you roll on it. And the choices are a dusting of metallic white or charcoal freckles, metallic luminous or dark eyes, starkly colored hair, an unusual hue tinting your shadow, a ghostly halo crowning your head, or rainbows gleaming on your skin. All of which are interesting and cool. You have, I'm just cross-referencing to make sure that what is still here and what isn't. You still have your celestial resistance to necrotic and radiant damage. You still have your dark vision.
Well, the reason why we bring up the table to roll is some people have not I can go as far as say option paralysis. Right. They can kind of get like that.
They can,
not knowing, and especially if you're bringing somebody new in the game, they may not know how they look.
Yeah.
So you can say, hey, well, here's this table. Let's roll down it. All right, you have these eyes. And a lot of times, especially if a DM's been doing it for a while, someone's a new player and they're asking questions. Sometimes the DM will be like, okay, this is what sets you apart.
Right.
Lots of ways. Always lots of ways you can do it. Everything in D&D, even using these new rules, unless you're going to play an arena, obviously, you're going to play an official D&D thing. But everything's kind of optional.
Yeah.
The campaign we're playing right now is actually almost like a cross between the old system, some of the old stuff and this.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, you take the rules and leave them as you need them or as you see fit.
Right. And with that said, if you want to still use the old rules, they're in your compendium on D&D Beyond, or if you still have the books, you can still use those at your table as long as everybody's okay with it.
Yeah.
So Asamar had healing hands, which is pretty interesting. As an action, you can touch a creature, cause it to regain a number of hit points equal to your level. You can't use it again until you finish a long rest. That has changed a little bit. Now it's, as an action, you can touch a creature and roll a number of d4s equal to your proficiency bonus. The creature regains a number of hit points equal to the total rolled, and once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. That actually makes it way more useful at higher level than just, hey, here's 15 HP. If my proficiency bonus is a +5, I'm going to roll 5d4 and could get a 20.
Yeah. That's true.
It's not as good as it could be, but it's better than it was.
No, but it's if you try, that's one of the problems you can run into with D&D is people miss how much small things can add up.
They for sure do. Absolutely.
We've talked before how you can people underestimate the power of +1.
Yep.
And I think 5th edition as a whole kind of underestimates the power of just giving people a +1.
I agree. It goes from a flat 15 to 5d4. Yeah, the average is lower, but your proficiency bonus is going to go up more, especially if you get into epic play, than just your level. Your level is going to cap out at 20.
Yeah.
So it was nice having a flat heal on it, but you want to have a decent heal that's not. It's also way better at low levels now. Because now you could get 4 instead of 1 at first level.
Also, this is another, you can do an optional thing if you don't want to do math, because you can run D&D with just rolling to hit or save.
Yeah, that's true.
With just a 20.
Yeah.
You can play D&D. Because if you look in anything that does damage,
there's an average.
Yeah, you'll have the dice, let's say 3d6, and then beside it, or 3d6 plus 4, whatever it is, then beside it, it'll have the average it does.
Yeah.
So you can play D&D. It's like, okay, I hit. You take the average that you hit, and you add your strength on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of like I do kind of like the flat 15.
Yeah.
Just that this, the player always knows that, bam, I got 15 points to give it kind of quick. Because I don't know. That's kind of adds its own flavor to it.
For sure, it does. I just think at lower levels, this is much better. Yeah. My proficiency bonus is a +1, so I could get a 4 or a 3 or a 2.
Yeah.
My proficiency bonus is a +2. I could get an 8 out of this instead of my 3.
Yeah, that's true.
But epic play is in past level 20, where you cap out at 20. That trait's never going to get better, but boons can give you more proficiency.
Boons.
So.
And before long, they'll release something with 21 and 25.
Yeah,
I'm
for
sure.
I'm sure. From there, Asamars get 4 new abilities.
What?
Yep, 4 new abilities. The first one is Celestial Revelation.
Okay.
When you hit 3rd level, choose one of the revelation options below. So you get your option between any one of the next 3, right? Thereafter, you can use a bonus action to unleash the celestial energy within yourself, gaining the benefits of that revelation. Your transformation lasts for 1 minute or until you end it as a bonus action. Once you transform using your revelation below, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. And again, you choose this at level 3.
Yeah.
You don't get to choose between them. You choose it at level 3. Your choices are Necrotic Shroud, Radiant Consumption, and Radiant Soul. You get these for 1 minute. You can end as a bonus action. Long rest. Necrotic Shroud is your eyes briefly become pools of darkness, and ghostly, flightless wings sprout from your back temporarily. Creatures other than your allies within 10 feet of you that can see you must succeed on a charisma saving throw, DC's 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier, or become frightened of you until the end of your next turn. Until the transformation ends, once on each of your turns, you can deal extra necrotic damage to one target when you deal damage to it with an attack or a spell. The extra damage equals your proficiency bonus.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's weird. It's not too strong, but it is strong, and you get it at level 3 along with whatever class features you're choosing, unless you're playing a cleric.
Well, it's got to look. With everything they're doing, for the most part, and I know, I made a joke about the nerfing.
Right.
Everything they're doing right now, your low-level characters are powerful.
Yes.
I mean, and 5th edition's characters are OP. They're probably, of all editions, they're probably the most OP.
Yes.
Especially out of the box.
I agree.
My God, I can't imagine being 2nd edition having an AC 20 at level 1.
Right.
Being able to make a turtle and just do it upright, and then when my shell having, cast a concentration spell, getting my shell have an AC of 30.
Right.
That's so. One, they're going up, and it's not as much, not near as many spells once again that we're seeing.
Right.
But all these abilities to kind of flush them out.
Yeah, and it gives you a reason to play an Asamar over something else.
It does.
It's not, and I've got 2 more to go over here for you, but they're not too strong. They're just interesting, you know? The next one's Radiant Consumption. Searing light temporarily radiates from your eyes and mouth. For the duration, you shed bright light in a 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10 feet. At the end of each of your turns, each creature within 10 feet of you takes radiant damage equal to your proficiency bonus. Till the transformation ends, once on each of your turns, you can deal extra radiant damage to one target when you deal damage with an attack or a spell. The extra damage equals your proficiency bonus. So it's just, instead of fear, it's radiant damage.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot of radiant damage, but it's there.
No, yeah, it's there every turn.
Like you said, that extra +1.
Yeah.
And then Radiant Soul is the third one. 2 luminous spectral wings sprout from your back temporarily. Until the transformation ends, you have a flying speed equal to your walking speed. And once on each of your turns, you can deal extra radiant damage to one target when you deal damage to it with an attack or a spell. The extra damage equals your proficiency bonus. You want to fly?
Yeah. I think that's pretty cool.
Free flight.
That's pretty cool. Asamar Monk, Asamar Paladin.
Yeah. And again, it's extra flavor for them, right? It's cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I don't think, make them super OP, but I definitely think it makes up for what you lose out on with the flat heal.
Mm.
Next up, we have the Bugbear.
Nice.
And I know people love the Bugbear. I'm trying to get to the Bugbear traits here. They're not in this book. They're not in this book. They're in one of these books I have
Tabs
open.
galore. Tabs galore.
I have so many books open.
Well, yeah, I mentioned the Bugbear. Bugbear is a it'll be a real fun class to play.
Yeah.
We got the reach. Just look, this big burly, monstrous thing. Reach out and touch somebody. Yeah,
So
starting out with a 15-foot reach with a weapon is just pretty sick.
yeah. Bugbears are now Fey, as they have been since, I believe, Well Beyond the Witchlight made them and Furbolgs Fey.
Okay,
Sure.
are they? Okay,
Yeah,
they
they're
may
Fey.
be. They may be.
Is it a bear with a bug head?
No, that's an Umber Hulk.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
No, it's a think of a Skyrim troll, but just with 2 eyes.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
And they can put on stand up a little more straight and put on armor, carry
Now,
weapons.
They have lost a couple things, but they've kept the most important one, in my opinion, which is the reach. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But they also gained Fey ancestry. So right off the bat, we still have long-limbed. When you make a melee attack on your turn, you reach for it. It's 5 foot greater than normal, which is great. They now have
reach with a longsword, just sick.
It's really good. They now have Fey ancestry, so they have advantage on saving throws to make. They make to avoid or end charm conditions. They still have dark vision, and it works the same way. They still have powerful build. They count as 1 size larger when determining the carrying capacity and the weight they can push, drag, or lift. They still have sneaky, so they're proficient in stealth. They still have surprise attack. They can hit a creature on the first turn of combat. It deals an extra 2d6 damage to it, and you can only use it once per combat. However, you no longer get to choose what size your bugbear is.
Oh.
Which may not seem like a big thing, but you're just medium now.
Yeah, so the biggest thing that affects is what put your push, pull, and drag, your carrying capacity. If you're trying to pull off something really cool,
and they get to have the powerful build ability, so they're okay on that.
Yeah,
but you're just medium now, and they're a humanoid, but they're also considered goblinoid for any effects that require them to be a goblin.
Okay, so you're really counting on 3. You need to keep 3 ancestries in mind for a bugbear: goblinoid, fey,
and human.
Okay.
And so they aren't nerfed hard, but that means effects that work on goblinoids work on them as well. And that doesn't seem like a big thing, but it does affect quite a bit if they are.
Well, if you got rangers after you.
Yes. Suddenly that's your favorite target as well. So
yeah.
Keep that in mind. That is a thing that definitely does change. But for the most part, bugbears come through pretty good. They don't gain anything really except for Fey ancestry, which is pretty solid, Only being medium, which, a lot of species are stuck to medium now. A lot of the sizes are gone.
Yeah.
But there are still some big sizes.
That's
some big races.
Man, D&D is so fun. But it's really kind of a simplified version.
Yeah.
And in the constant fight for balance, which I'm not always for.
Right.
I think some things get kind of lost out. I wouldn't be totally against it if somebody was like, can I play like a 9 foot tall bugbear?
Yeah,
that's,
for sure.
That's a foot taller.
For sure.
Than medium fight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Foot taller. Yeah, it'd be a foot taller. So, yeah.
I agree. I'd probably swing that as well. Centaurs had the same treatment. Centaurs now are just medium.
They've always been medium.
Well, you had the option to make them bigger.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Big Clydesdale? I did not realize that for Centaurs.
But you could be slightly larger, but only by a couple feet. It wasn't by enough to be like large, but
yeah,
you could do that.
Yeah, because technically, because a centaur being a medium creature,
right,
with the riding feet, could ride a centaur.
Yeah.
Onto that, so you could have a centaur Voltron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
They are still Fey. That hasn't changed. Centaurs still count as Fey. They still have their movement speed of 40 feet. They still have their charge, which still works exactly the way it did before. If they move at least 30 feet straight towards the target, hit it with a melee weapon attack on the same turn.
20 feet.
No, it was 30 originally, and it's still 30 now.
Okay, something has 20. Minotaurs have 20.
Minotaurs have 20, yes.
Okay.
Which is, it's great, in bonus action. It's pretty great. They still have their hooves. Thankfully, that'd be really weird if they'd removed those from Centaurs.
Yeah.
1d6 damage, whereas before it was 1d4. So just like the talent, it's gone up. And then they still have equine build. They count as 1 size larger when determining carrying capacity. Now, this is pretty interesting. Any climb that requires hands and feet is especially difficult for them because of their equine legs. When they make such a climb, each foot of movement costs them 4 extra feet instead of the normal 1.
Okay.
So
Okay.
climbing's a little tough.
Tougher, yes.
And then they
Yeah.
have a new thing called natural affinity. Your fate connection to nature gives you an intuitive connection to the natural world and the animals with it. Within it, you therefore have proficiency in one of the following skills: animal handling, medicine, nature, or survival.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's a nice little thing to have.
Yeah.
Centaurs are still solid. I don't think they
like-
really lost anything.
I like it when skills come out of your race
Yeah.
or your background,
I agree.
rather than I get these skills, as soon as I become a first level, whatever.
Right.
Because the idea is, you've just decided I'm now becoming an adventurer
Right.
at first level.
You were already a person.
Yeah. You already had skills and stuff, and we're surviving on the land, right?
Yeah. All right. I have to find this next one again. I don't think it's going to be hard. I think I remember what tab he says as he goes between. There they are. Changelings.
Oh yeah. This is a cool race.
Yeah, changelings rock.
Yeah.
So changelings have not been changed too much, though a couple little things have shifted, as it were, which is kind of funny when you consider a couple things have changed. They've lost their ability score increase for charisma, just like everything has. Everything is going with the Tasha's way now.
Yeah.
They've lost their advanced aging, which is interesting. They used to age slightly faster than humans, but have a similar lifespan. And they've lost that, which is really interesting to me.
Well, it's not something that 99%
Yeah.
Of campaign sessions groups are probably gonna have to deal with.
Yeah.
Now there's those out there playing, and they're probably not playing 5th edition rules.
That's probably true.
That matters.
Here's where some interesting things happen. Changelings are Fey now. They probably always should have been.
Yeah.
So they're Fey now. And they can be medium or small.
That's good.
Whereas before they could just be medium. So
That's good.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They still have their instincts. Though now the wording's changed a little bit. Now it's thanks to your connection to the Fey realm, you gain proficiency with 2 of the following skills instead of just 1 of your choice: deception, insight, intimidation, performance, or persuasion. And they weren't Fey, no. And they still have their shape changer ability, but it's changed a little bit. Go figure. As an action, you can change your appearance and your voice.
Not in this. Not those changelings.
Yeah, not here.
You are correct, ma'am. Yes. And exactly. Classically speaking, that's exactly what changeling. Yes.
Yeah.
So.
You determine the specifics of the changes, including your coloration, hair length, and sex. You can also adjust your height and weight and change your size between medium and small. Before, you could only go to medium. You couldn't go down to small. You can make yourself appear as a member of another race, though none of your game statistics change. You can't duplicate the appearance of an individual you've never seen, and you must adopt a form that has the same basic arrangement of limbs that you have. Your clothing and equipment aren't changed by this trait. You stay in the new form until you use an action to revert it to your true form or until you die.
Yeah. Changelings in D&D are a really cool, really cool class. What you can do.
While you talk changelings, I'm going to go to the next one.
They kind of have enough variety in the way you can do things to work in any setting, but especially a hardcore role play session where there's some intrigue and there's some spying and there's a lot of stuff going on like that. They can make excellent spies or rogues.
Okay, I have found them. Multiple arms, but you hide them. I mean, you could theoretically then turn yourself into a Thri-Kreen if your DM allowed it. Multiple limbs. That's all you need. Has to have the same assortment of limbs as you.
Yeah.
All right. Where did I just lose that tab?
There'd be money in it.
So, deep gnomes, Svrfneblin, yeah, kind of had the short end of a stick before when it comes to races. They were shoved into the halfling and gnome section, and they had just a simple, small section of, hey, they have superior dark vision, they have stone camouflage, and they have the ability to take the Svrfneblin magic feat. And that's kind of it, However, now they have a full section in this book, which is about the same as everybody else's. They're humanoid. They're considered gnomes for the prerequisite of any effect that requires them to be a gnome.
Mm-hmm.
They're small, of course. Their walking speed's 30 feet, which is 5 more than most gnomes get.
Yeah, it's quick.
Which is nice. They have dark vision up to 120 feet, as you can figure.
Yeah.
Then, instead of having to take the feat to get the ability to use Svirfneblin magic, which is weird, they just have... They can still take that feat and get more, but they natively have some, which is nice.
They should.
Gift of the Svirfneblin. I'm going to keep saying it wrong every time, I'm sure. Starting at 3rd level, you can cast the Disguise Retake. You can cast the... All right.
Cast it again.
You can cast the Disguise Self spell with this trait.
Oh.
Starting at 5th level, you can also cast the Non-Detection spell with it. So you get another spell as you level up, when you don't need material components for either one. Once you cast either of these spells with this trait, you can't do it again until you finish a long rest. You can also cast these spells using spell slots you have at the appropriate level. And again, when you choose the race, you choose if you want to have Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma as your spellcasting ability modifier. Which is pretty good to be able to have Disguise Self and Non-Detection. Just once per day free, Yeah. Once per long rest.
I know we're there. There's no. I do miss negatives though.
I do too. Yeah, there's none of these have negatives.
Yeah,
really.
none will have negatives again.
Yeah. They also have Gnomish magic resistance, which they have advantage on Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma saving throws against spells. That's really strong.
Yeah, it is.
Which makes sense for deep gnomes. They live in magic, basically.
True.
So it's cool.
But dang.
But all of a sudden now a deep gnome looks way better to play than a regular gnome, in my opinion. They also get Svirfneblin camouflage, of course, like they had before. When they make a stealth check, they can make the check with advantage, and you can use that trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain them all when you finish a long rest, whereas before this was just a long rest.
Yeah.
So, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Then we get, I know this one's in the same book. It's not. I was just wrong. I was very wrong. It's in this book.
Get it? Here we go.
No, that's Gith. Under Tomophos. Under Dwarves. Here we go.
Ta-da.
Dwergar characters.
Dwergar.
So yeah, the Dwergar are next. And they've got some... Where's the table? No. Where's my traits? Are the traits in a different book? No.
That would be silly.
Why would they be?
It wouldn't surprise me, but that would be silly.
They're... All right. Yeah. All right.
Got it?
No.
Oh.
I gotta find it. They're not in this book, even though they should
Well,
be.
we're going to talk about these gnomes that traditionally could be very wise, but had a negative on intelligence.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's something about that.
I think Dwergar might be in the PhD.
Traits: blind, asthmatic, amusing.
That's me. That's me. Are they in the PHB? Under Dwarves?
They may be.
Let me pull up the Compendium PHB real quick.
Yeah.
All the way down here. Remember when I closed that earlier and said I wouldn't need it anymore?
You fool.
That's right. I'm just going to put it this way. It'd be a lot easier if I could just look up the old versions on D&D Beyond as well. That would be really handy.
I don't like I like D&D Beyond. There's something about it I don't like. The search is not very good on it.
No, it's not.
Search engine and go through your
really
stuff.
Not. It's not here. Okay. Let's just go over what they have now.
Yeah, let's go over what they have now. Because traditionally, I mean, if you're a DM and you're running a group of very isolated, very mean, hateful dwarves.
Yeah.
They're not. Intelligence comes through interaction of ideas.
Very much so, yeah.
And so I don't know. I do miss the negatives. Apparently that hurts people's feelings.
I guess so. I don't mind my races to have a negative on them in D&D. It makes it more fun, in my opinion. Understand they want to make money. Yeah, I get why they do it the way they do it, but it definitely makes it tough on people that don't have the income to be able to go through it all. All right, so Dwargar, they're medium, humanoid, and considered to be a dwarf for any prerequisites that require them to be dwarves. Walking speed's 30 feet.
Mm-hmm.
They still have their dark vision, and they still have Dwargar magic. Starting at 3rd level, you can cast Enlarge Reduce on yourself. Not on anything else, on yourself with this trait without requiring a material component. And at 5th level, you get Invisibility on yourself.
See, to me, that just seems like worth a -2 in intelligence.
Yeah, it's very good.
But that's just me.
It's very good. Once you cast either of these spells with this trait, you can't cast it again until you finish a long rest, and you can use it with slots, and just like the others, Intelligence, Wisdom, Charisma, when you choose this race, you get to choose between them. It's a nice change, I think, to Dwargar Magic, which before was just you get to use these. You don't get to use them with your own slots, and you just get to use them once per day. Dwarven Resilience still works the same way it did before. Advantage to saving throws that to make or avoid or end, poisoned, and you have resistance to poison damage. And then Psionic Fortitude, you have advantage on saving throws to avoid or end charmed or stunned conditions on yourself. So it's pretty good. It definitely, could be better, but
yeah,
it's very solid, and I think is another reason maybe to take Dwargar.
Yeah, well, I think at the end of the day, it's the goal of what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's to make everything more attractive to play.
Very much so. Speaking of attractive to play, we have Eladrin next.
Eladrin?
Yeah.
Yes. That's the first elves that we're going to talk about.
Elves of the Feywild.
Which these start out, if you have the DM's guide, these originally show up in 5th edition as an optional race in the DMG, and they have a couple of things to it while they're talking about how to build your own race.
Again, the ability score increase to Charisma's lost because they don't do that anymore.
No.
You're also considered an elf for any prerequisites. It's humanoid, but you're also considered an elf. You're medium. Walking speed's 30. You have dark vision to 60 feet. Your Fey ancestry, so you have advantage on saving throws to avoid or end charmed.
Which I don't know how to do it, but I feel they should be, of all the elves, they should have, like, I don't know, there's something extra about the Fey. Well, I guess maybe they get something.
They do.
They really should play into the Fey ancestry of these elves more than others, I think.
I agree. You get Fey Step, which is a free Misty Step, basically. But on Eladrin's, it has a new feature. I say it's the same feature, but it has a new tweak to it. Yeah. Depending on which season you're attached to.
Right.
And you can magically teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space. You can use it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus.
That's just nuts.
Which is crazy. Eladrin's are so good now.
Yeah, it's Eladrins.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. It's not just one Fey Step now.
Yeah.
It's your proficiency bonus Fey Steps now, which is insane. When you reach 3rd level, you gain an additional effect based on your season.
Yes.
If the effect requires a saving throw, the DC equals 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus either intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. You choose when you choose Eladrin.
There you go. Okay. There you go.
Each one of these have been tweaked slightly. Autumn, immediately after you use your Fey Step, up to 2 creatures of your choice that you can see within 10 feet of you must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you for a minute till damage is done or the minute's up. With winter, 1 creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of you before you teleport must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be frightened. With spring, when you use your Fey Step, you can touch 1 willing creature within 5 feet of you. That creature teleports instead of you, appearing in an unoccupied space of your choice within 30 feet of you. Then summer, immediately after you use your Fey Step, each creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of you takes fire damage equal to your proficiency bonus.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be a cool campaign, a good solo campaign, running a Arabian Nights one. You run an Eladrin as Aladdin.
Yeah.
A summer one. And that's how he gets, he's the only one.
Yep.
But that's how he gets away with a lot of stuff.
That fire damage is pretty nice, too.
Yeah. A Misty Step, fire damage.
You also have proficiency in perception from keen senses. And, of course, you have trance. However, whenever you finish your trance, you can change your season, and you gain 2 proficiencies that you don't have each one with a weapon or a tool of your choice from the PHB. You mystically acquire these proficiencies by drawing them from shared elven memory, and you retain them until you finish your next long rest.
I want you to read that one more time.
Okay. Whenever you finish your trance, which you do during short or long rests,
Yes.
right? Normally long, but it only takes 4 hours.
Yeah.
You can change your season, and you can gain 2 proficiencies that you don't have, each one with a weapon or a tool of your choice selected from the PHB. You mystically acquire these proficiencies by drawing them from shared elven memory, and you retain them until you finish your next long rest.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm now proficient with this other weapon that I wasn't proficient with before because another elf told me how to use it while I was trancing.
Or we need somebody to cook. Give me a minute. Let me go rest for 4 hours.
Yeah. Now I know how to cook like a master.
Yeah. Dude, and with interesting there's still the memories.
That's true. The memory remains.
We got Metallica now, huh?
The memories of Ash.
So yeah, that's really I like that. I like that ability just for flavor.
Yeah.
And as a player, could have a lot of fun with that.
It makes them a lot more like appealing than regular elves too. Like regular elves were already kind of struggling because half elves are there, drow are there.
Yeah.
But now Eladrin is like a really solid choice.
Yes.
Compared to a regular elf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why I would choose a regular elf at this point over an Eladrin or a drow.
Well, we might find out.
We might find out.
Okay.
Next up is Fairy, and realistically, Fairy is pretty much straight brought over from into the Feywilds, the Witch Beyond the Wildlight. There are some slight changes, but they brought the table over from Witch Beyond the Wildlight, so you have the same table to roll for wings and what effects you have and things like that. Of course, maybe one of them is you smell like fresh brownies all the time.
Yeah.
One of them's your legs are insectile.
Yeah.
But there have been some slight changes. You're still small, of course. You're still Fey. Your speed's still 30 feet. Druidcraft as well. However, at 3rd level, you can cast Fairy Fire with the trait. And at 5th level, you can cast Enlarge Reduce, and it doesn't have to be on you.
That's interesting.
Once you cast either one of those, you can't cast that spell with it again with the trait until you finish a long rest.
Okay.
But any spell slots you have, you can use for it now.
Right.
And then now you get to choose Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma when you select the race. And then, of course, you can't fly if you have medium or heavy armor. But you have a flight speed equal to your walking speed. So,
yeah.
Fairies are pretty good.
Yeah. They have a really low walking speed, really high flying speed.
I agree. I think the walking speed should be a lot smaller. But
yeah. And I mean a lot smaller.
Yeah.
If you're going
5.
Yes. 5 to 10, you're going with the idea of a fairy, but their fly speed is like 35, 40.
Yeah, I agree. That's how I would balance it out. Because right now, they're very good.
Yeah. Make a fairy monk.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing about tying the flight speed to the walking speed.
Yep.
You've just made...
It's busted quick.
Yeah, anything that has flight that's tied to walking speed, monk.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm going 210 feet up, straight up in the air.
Yeah.
On this turn.
For sure. I said earlier Furbolgs were Fey. I'm sorry, they're not Fey. Furbolgs are not Fey. Bugbears are Fey. Furbolgs are not Fey.
Yeah, well...
They are Fey, but they're not.
The picture
right?
they have
in
there is a Fey-touched Furbolg.
Right, I agree.
Furbolgs are
next.
giants, right?
So just a heads up there. Furbolgs are next.
Yeah.
Enlarge Reduce. Yeah, Enlarge Reduce is very good.
Yeah, very good spell.
You're humanoid, medium, 30 feet walking speed. Furbolg magic has changed as well. You can cast the Detect Magic Disguise Self spells with this trait. When you use the version of Disguise Self, you can seem up to 3 feet shorter or taller.
Instead of just one, which is really handy.
Yeah. And then once you cast either of these spells with this trait, you can't do it again until you finish a long rest. You can also use these within these spell slots now. That should be for everything. Why not? You know the spell. Why can't you cast it?
Yeah.
And then again, Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your ability you choose when you choose the race. One-time choice. You have Hidden Step still, though it's changed a little bit. As a bonus action, you can magically turn invisible until the start of your next turn or until you attack, make a damage roll, or force someone to make a saving throw.
Notice how they throw, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, That's changed a bit.
Yeah.
I bet they've changed the spell look. I need to look.
Guarantee you they have.
I need to look because there was ways to get around that.
Yeah.
Well, I throw a bomb. That's not damage. I didn't cause the damage.
The bomb blew up. But yeah, now even if you make somebody make a saving throw, you lose your invisibility.
Yeah.
You can use the trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, which is nice, instead of just once.
Yeah.
And you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You still have powerful build. You count as one size larger when carrying capacity and weight. And you have speech of beast and leaf, which has been tweaked very, very slightly. You have the ability to communicate in a limited manner with beasts, plants, and vegetation. They can understand the meaning of your words, though you have no special ability to understand them in return. You have advantage on all charisma checks you make to influence them. So if you were to cast a spell that would influence one of those, you now have advantage if it uses charisma.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. That should have been there to begin with, honestly.
Yeah, well, it's kind of weird because when you take... that doesn't change up too much.
Right.
But, yeah.
It just makes them better, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mentioned this one earlier. Janewski are the ones that really change here. Like, a substantial amount. Janewski now are much better than they were before.
Which they were a cool class.
They were very cool already, yes.
Just the whole concept, the idea of an elemental humanoid. You know, you might be, a tall female with a stone skin.
Yeah,
as an Earth Janewski.
So now instead of having set traits and then bonuses, each subrace has their own set traits, which means they're drastically different from each other.
Yeah, which they should be. Yes.
I agree. That's the way it's supposed to be. Air Janewski are first because we're going alphabetically. They're humanoid, medium or small. You get to choose. Walking speed's 35 because they're air. They get a little bit extra movement there. They have dark vision for 60 feet. They have unending breath now. You can hold your breath indefinitely while you're not incapacitated.
Okay.
Which is very nice. It makes sense. They have resistance to lightning damage. And then they have Mingle with the Wind, which is an upgraded version of their old trait, like racial spells.
Mm-hmm.
You know the Shocking Grass cantrip. And starting at 3rd level, you can cast Featherfall with this trait without requiring a material component. At 5th level, you can also cast Levitate with this trait, which makes sense. On yourself? Not just on yourself.
Okay.
You can just cast Levitate. Once you cast Featherfall or Levitate with this trait, you can't cast that spell with it again till you finish a long rest, but Shocking Grasp you can keep doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's just Featherfall or Levitate. You can't use it again. But you also can use any spell slots you have to do those. And then Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma, of course, when you choose the race, just like all the others.
Okay.
Yeah, they can be small now. Yeah, Air Janewski automatically now are way better than they were.
Yeah.
Just the faster already is great. But free Shocking Grass cantrip, because of course it's a cantrip, cast as much as you want. Resistance to lightning damage, and being able to be fine and not have to breathe.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
If you're incapacitated, you have to breathe, but otherwise.
Well, not like that. I mean, that's be like, okay, poison hits. I would probably let an Air Janewski make a reaction roll to see if they can catch their breath.
Yeah, I agree.
Hold their breath.
I agree. Earth Janewski are next, and again, all the Janewski have changed quite a bit, much for the better in my mind. All of these Janewski are better.
Yes.
Humanoid, medium or small. Speed's walking 30 feet. Dark vision, same way. Now they have Earth Walk. Before they had, I believe it was, I have it pulled up.
Earth Glide?
It was Earth Glide, yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's Earth Walk. You can move across difficult terrain without expending extra movement if you are using your walking speed on the ground or a floor.
Okay.
So not quite as fast. It doesn't give you extra movement, but you can completely ignore difficult terrain.
Yeah.
Then they have Merge with Stone. You know the Blade Ward cantrip. You get that for free. Cast it as normal. You can also cast it as a bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, which is very cool. Regaining all expended uses when you finish a long rest. At level 5, you can cast Pass Without a Trace with this trait. Once you cast that spell with this trait, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. You can use any spell slots you have of 2nd level or higher. And of course, Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is the spellcasting ability when you choose the race. Your rock could fly. Yeah. Earthwalk is not quite as cool as that, But difficult terrain no longer matters if you're on the ground or a floor. It doesn't have to be stone.
Yeah.
Or earth, I guess. Sticking on the floor, you travel with running on tree tops be flat ground then. It specifies the ground or the floor. So if it's connected to something down below that's not like another floor, I guess, like not a level of a house, then I would say it wouldn't count. But like if you're on the bottom floor of a castle or the second floor of a castle or the third floor of a castle, it would all still count as floor.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? I don't know. I have to mull on that a little bit, how they worded that one.
Yeah, I think that one leaves a little bit of room for interpretation for people. We got 2 more Janewski here, and then we're probably going to be out of time.
Yeah.
That'll get us to Gith next week. That's cool.
Right on.
The Fire Janewski, you're medium or small, humanoid, 30 feet, 60 feet dark vision. You have resistance to fire damage, of course. And then now you have Reach to the Blaze. You know the Produce Flame cantrip. Starting at 3rd level, you can cast Burning Hands with this trait. And at 5th level, you can cast Flame Blade with this trait. Once you cast Burning Hands or Flame Blade, you can't cast them again until you finish a long rest.
Okay.
You can also cast either of these spells using any spell slots you have at the appropriate level. And then Int, Wiz, Charisma, spellcasting ability, when you choose the race, you get to choose. Air is still the best one right now, I think. In my mind.
Yeah.
But now we have water.
Okay.
Medium or small, humanoid, 30 feet, but you have a swimming speed equal to your walking speed. You have acid resistance. You can breathe air and water. You don't have to breathe underwater. You can breathe water, which has a lot of applications, including but not limited to fishbowl on the head, seal it up full of water. I can breathe in space now.
Yeah.
You have Call to the Wave. You know the Acid Splash. I really tripped that up. Retake. The Acid Splash cantrip. Starting at 3rd level, you can cast Create or Destroy Water with this trait. Starting at 5th level, you can also cast Water Walk with this trait. Once you cast Create or Destroy Water or Water Walk, you can't cast it again until you finish a long rest. You can also use spell slots.
Right.
And then Int, Wiz, Cha for your spellcasting ability when you choose this race. And you still have Dark Vision.
Right.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. How can we balance the races? We're giving them all free spells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except the humans. That's why this book called them filthy humans at the start. They didn't say filthy, but they might as well have.
You can play human. You can play something cool.
Yeah. I think out of these, the Air Genasi is still my favorite change-wise. I think the Bugbear changes are okay. I think the Deep Gnome and Dwergar changes are good, right?
Yeah.
The Eladrin change is really good. The Furbolg one is okay.
Yeah.
Everyone else I can kind of take or leave. The Ericocra one is not bad. I know a lot of people are mad about the flight speed. I get it. I really do.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I said, there seems to be these things don't have to be perfectly balanced,
right?
You know, that's why that was one of the reasons why I like it when the player has some stat.
Yeah,
you know, that's an 8 or 9.
I agree.
You know, I don't know.
The Asamar ones are cool.
It is. It's gonna make it. It makes the. I mean, the game's gonna be fun for the players for sure.
Right.
Because you get lots of stuff you can do, and I'm betting as we get into monsters and look at those from the DM side of it. I bet we're gonna run into the same thing of hey, this is an ability now.
Monsters in this book are so good.
This is an ability that we have.
Yeah.
That they can use. So.
But yeah, next week we'll get into the Gith. I have to ask before we close, which of the 4 Genasi do you like the most?
I don't know.
I wish the fire one was better because look, at the end of the day, fire is just not a good element in D&D at high level. It's just not.
No, unless that's resistant to it.
Yeah.
In the least.
You having resistant to it is good, but...
And if you go, if you're an infernal campaign, it's pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I'm a little bit douchey when it comes to like if you're dumb enough to cast flame. If you're one of my campaigns, you run across something infernal.
yeah.
You cast flames on it, you have healed it.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I agree. Just like if you're willing to cast Cure Wounds on that enemy skeleton, you can't do that anymore in 5e.
I know.
Cure Wounds is just on allies.
Yeah.
But
I don't like that.
I agree.
You should be able to cast healing spells on the undead to hurt them.
Yeah, I want to cast True Resurrection on that Lich.
Yeah.
And guess what? You're done, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You better have Counterspell.
Right. You gotta have something to put up with that. Yes.
But we'll be back next week with the Geth. Because Avatar your Earth every time. I understand. And then after that is the rest of the races. We still have a whole nother page.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
After Gith.
Yeah.
So like I said, we'll probably be on this book for like at least a month.
Yeah.
Because we still have the monsters to go.
Yeah, I will go through it and discuss them all.
Mm-hmm. But let us know in the comment section down below and in the chat, of course. Thanks everybody for being on the chat.
Absolutely.
What your favorite updated race has been, what you're happy with, not happy with. And until next time, I've been Trey.
I've been Rungren.
We've been the Full Spectrum D&D podcast. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum the D&D has to offer.